Well, hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Well, welcome back. All right, so I had a lot of topics in my head today, and I kept trying to pray and figure out some guidance on which direction I should go, and I kind of just settled on this topic today, and that's kind of staying sane while school's out. And I know that that doesn't necessarily apply to everybody because not everybody has children, so maybe this will be entertaining for you. And if you've got some fun activities in your head that you used to do with your children, if you are an empty nester now, I'd love to hear about them down below, especially because my girls and I are into, you know, really old traditional stuff. So if you've got some ideas, definitely share them with us. So I wanted to chat with you about, if you are a parent, or if you're you can share this with your children too if they're parents. And there's a lot of information out there right now about different websites that people can go to help with their their quasi new homeschooling situation. And I think for a lot of us, our goal is to just keep kind of on the path of what our children are doing, not trying to actually be educators. So here's how school went down for us. We were on spring break last week, and I think before Monday of that spring break even started out, we found out that we would be out until March 27th. So even though the week of spring break we had some things planned, those all kind of just got moved off of our radar. And the girls have been really upbeat about it. And I think that's probably because of our attitude. We've been, lighthearted and, just really kind of kept the tension and the emotions about the beer flu, away from us. It's not something that we focused on. We've been staying home since last Tuesday. We went out on Monday, and that was our last day out. So we've been in since last Tuesday, and so we made a deal last week with the girls that we were gonna just enjoy our true spring break, sleep late, watch more TV than we normally would, do, just relax and do whatever, and not try to focus on being integrating school into the scenario in any way. And I told him that we would just work on that this week. We'll work on that next week. And so I can't remember if it midway through the week, both of the girls, kind of at the command of my oldest daughter Maisie, had completely outlined their schedules that they follow at school from the moment they get there until I pick them up. And they get there at like 8:45 in the morning. And they already know their routine here, so they were pretty gung-ho to follow that exact routine. And over the course of the week, because so many other people had already been on their spring breaks and kind of already had been on an extended spring break, if you will, there was a lot of different information circulating out there that gave good suggestions and guidelines for kind of how to approach this kind of school, kind of break scenario with their children. So I was quick to explain to Maisie that, there's no way we could be that rigid because there's the structure of school itself and all of the dynamics of that are what makes that possible for children to do that duration of time. And, we know from homeschooling, because we've done that, Maisie homeschooled until she was in the 2nd grade, that it's easy to get distracted and that education at home has to be more relaxing. So that was kind of our plan going into this week. And I even chose to not go headlong into like heavily planning out the days. I saw this thing online that was basically like, wake up at a normal time or let the kids sleep late because it's good for their immune systems to get plenty of rest. And last week our bedtime schedules were, kind of like a little bit on the weekend and break time. I think they were going to bed like 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock, which was difficult, a little bit challenging for us, because we're used to having that kind of break time in the evenings. So this week we dialed it back to 8:30, whereas we usually start getting ready for bed at like 7:55, and we usually lock it down by about 8:10, you know, with all the shenanigans. So this week we're backed up to 8:30, and for some reason I've got to get the girls wearing their eye masks, because no matter what, if they stay up late, if they go to bed early, they are getting up before they ever were made to get up for school. We get up at school for 7:30. Our one son that's in high school, he has to be at school at 7:30. But the girls, like I said, they get up at 7:30, and we leave for school usually about 8:15. And so they're getting up before I even get up. But they're already used to their mom working at home and being around that, you know. So they know when to hold them, they know when to fold them, they know when to walk away, and they know when to run, okay? But that doesn't change the fact that they like to hang out with me, you know. It does mean that they know the blocks of time that I work in the morning, because that's kind of how my schedule is set up. After I take them to school in the morning, I come back and I spend an hour or so on my clients' marketing, and I do that in the afternoon, somewhere between 3 and 5. I love to get it done in car line, so that when I get with them after car line, then it's more just about them. So they give me those blocks of times, but that's not the only thing in life that I've got to get done. There's other things that I have to get done with my clients. There's engagement that I need to do for my clients. There's things that I have to do around here. Like, you know, they don't get the laundry schedule that I run or anything like that. So, what we have found, and what we are kind of loosely going through right now, is they get up at their normal time, or whenever that is, and they get their breakfast going. And then I've been getting up at our normal time, which is 7:30. And, you know, I get my shower and my routine all completed. I go down, I get my tea, I come back up, and I do my client's work. And then we set out on a long walk. And that's something that I've always admired about their school, is that they start the day out with the children out on the playground. So as soon as the children arrive, which I think they can get there at like 8:30. So they've got like 15 minutes to just, like, you know, kick their heels up and run around and scream and holler and get a lot of energy out. And I've always loved that about their elementary school. And I see how awesome it is for getting the kids to come in and just kind of be in one level zone with each other. So in the last 2 days, that's really been effective for us, is while I'm doing my morning work for my clients, I'd found some old just printouts that a retired teacher lady friend of us gave to us. So I've had the girls come in and get one of those so that they can go and just do colored pencils. So a lot of it has like kind of funky shapes and stuff and patterns, just insignificant stuff, but it gives them something to keep them distracted and from wanting to chat with me specifically during that time frame. And then we set out on our walk, and my goal was to like go out 15 minutes and come back 15 minutes, and that didn't work yesterday because we ran into people that we wanted to say hi to, and the girls didn't want to take doggy pickup bags when we went, just fully attesting that the dog would be fine, and we were barely around the corner before the dog needed a doggy bag. So now we just walk as far as we can, and when we start needing a drink and we get a drink, then we start heading back. And so it's been good, and once we come home, it brings the girls into a place of calmness. And the girls' schools already use some programs like Dreambox, and if you're here in Arizona, if you're in the Deer Valley School District, then you probably know about Dreambox. So Dreambox is a good way to, there's math on there. They do like these different math exercises, and so we integrated some blocks of time where each of the girls did some time on Dreambox, and then I found a website called k5.com, and the girls are very good at communicating, so we know exactly all the things that the girls are working on in school. Like Josie's working on learning about insects and bugs in her science, and the way their core curriculum, and that's not That's not like, it's more like core knowledge. It's a way that they use one topic like insects to go across all the topics of like ELA, like writing and comprehension and things like that. So they're learning all about bugs. So yesterday during her science time, I had her watch a video of mine, my gardening video about good bugs and bad bugs in the garden. And so she learned a lot about that. And I jumped away, but also on that K through 5 website, I printed out some ELA work where there's kind of a short story with some comprehension for them to do after that. And I printed out some math worksheets, and that was all good and fine, except for Josie told me that they were working on multiplication already, and she knows a lot of multiplication from her sister, but they're really not working on that yet. So I got her some subtraction worksheets going in, multiple digits. Now, that was all going well and fine until my printer ran out of ink. So today we're kind of winging it in terms of worksheets. And one way that we're doing that is Josie she's the youngest one, but she does love math and she loves to play around with the calculator. So she knows how to set up numbers. So just before I came up, I had the girls do an exercise where they each created math problems for themselves. Because why not? Even though Josie's in the 2nd grade, she can still put together numbers and say multiply these. So that's what the girls are working on right now. Josie made multiplication problems for Maisie, and Maisie, even though in school right now, Maisie's working on geometry and angles, but she did worksheets on that yesterday. But so she made multiplication problems for Maisie to do, and Maisie made multi-digit subtraction and addition problems for Josie to do. So that's what they're working on right now. And every day we have reading time. That's kind of how you get to be on the TV, is if you read for 20 to 30 minutes for me, depending on my mood. So those are a couple of ways as far as education and keeping my girls up to speed on just the things that they need to know. At this point, I don't know if we're actually going to get into being able to do the AZ Merit. I think it's got a different name now. And that's just because these are the couple of weeks that the teachers really use to review and get ready for that test. And we're already scheduled to be out of school until April 10th. I know that there's a lot of other websites out there too. There's a channel that on YouTube that's got free art lessons, and we've got a lot of paint, so that's been something. Yesterday we also make sure we have a craft time work in there, so I ask them what kind of craft did you make today, and if they haven't made one, they go and make one. And well, like I said, we've got an easel and paints and watercolors, so it's easy for us to set up an art or craft session in that regard. So I don't know if this has been helpful to you at all, but I really think besides figuring out things for them to do or figuring out ways to stay sane, probably the best thing is just learning to really communicate with your children in a way that they can vibe with who you are and where you're at. And I'm blessed, I feel like, because I've always talked to my daughters like they were little people, and so and I've let them see me have emotions so that they know that I'm a person too. Even though I'm a mom and sometimes to them I might seem superhuman, that I'm really a human being, that I go through things too, and things get to be too much for me and I need a break sometimes. And that in itself has been extremely helpful for us. And I don't know if you're in that same place with your children, but I still think you can get away with saying, hey, I'm frustrated right now. I need 5. I'm in timeout. I've got to take a break, and you go take a break for yourself and find some space. But in the end, also find a moment to embrace this time. Like, I'm really embracing it, because sometimes I have kind of, that mom regret over going back out to work into the workplace too soon. So every chance that I get to hold a hand and get a hug and, say a kind word, I do. But believe me, even though I want to answer every single question that they have, like I'm in their own personal Encyclopedia Britannica, at the end of the day, I know that there's a time that I just have to say, okay, I need a break. I've burnt out my motor for today. And I hope that you know that it's okay for you to do that too. And that might not be with your kids. That might be with your spouse. If you've been home for a couple weeks now with your spouse, I think that it's more than okay for you to, you know, allow yourself to have a little bit of time. I gotta have a couple minutes. And we joked a couple days ago, I think it was on Sunday, that, you know, when I was a kid, my mom and them, they locked us outside, and I sometimes get that feeling of want to lock the girls inside because I prefer to be outside on the patio all the time. All right, well, I hope that you have a feeling of being blessed a little bit today. I definitely want to remind you that I'm keeping you lifted up, and you're always in my thoughts, and I'm always curious and seeking God in ways that I can be uplifting to you and that I can touch your heart in some way. And so even though this is kind of a simple message today, there's got to be somebody out there that needs to hear it, because I'm telling you, I had a lot of things going through my head to chat with you about today. So just remember that I'm thinking about you, and I'm keeping you lifted up, and I'm hoping that you are holding your own self in a place of good thoughts, and that you're letting as much joy in as possible. So, and I hope you're having a good day. And until next time,